The boys are back together. Mike Bell, Carl Dukes. It is Dukes and Bell, guys. Of course, Day, our executive producer, Big O. And it's the first time that Mike and I have had a chance to kind of chop it up a little bit. And we're going to do a lot of this today on the show, from his trip to Berlin, all the interactions. I know he talked a little bit about it yesterday, but I have questions.
Yes, sir.
And I loved all the fan interaction, man, that went down over there. You know, the bottom line, and I just want to say this before we get into what's going down today, because we'll be live at Flowery Branch. Not only is Coach Raw going to join us exclusively as he does week to week, but we're also going to talk to our running back, our star running back, Bijan Robinson, on the show today. So make sure you're there starting at 2 o'clock. The fandom for our team is real. And I know it's hard for us to kind of imagine this, but Mike, you were just, you know, again, in a completely different country around the world. The German contention for, you know, Falcons, the group over there, they've been following this team and pumping this up. But I just, you know, I think sometimes because we've been in this rut that we don't realize there are a lot of hardcore Falcon fans out there, man. And they're riding, Mike. They're riding through this.
Right. And it's funny. I said to yesterday on the show, sorry, my screen is crapped out. You can hear me now. I'm still here. Believe me. You know, that kind of looks like a Mark Rothko painting. Let's leave that. That's kind of a nice backdrop for those. Oren, you were an art major, right?
No, my wife is an art major.
Look up Rothko. It's kind of got its own. We'll leave that for now. And
hey, Brittany, what about Rothko?
What does she think?
She gave me a thumbs up.
It's a modern art piece. Anyway, a use of color. But no, Carl, yeah, I'll reset it in a second. But seeing these folks from all around the country, in Atlanta specifically, folks sitting next to me were from Milledgeville at the stadium. Being at the airport in Frankfurt, making the connection, and then hearing people saying that, like me and you, and they heard us talking about it, saying, I'm with you. I'm so close to like not renewing for my tickets, but I love this team so much. It just hurts my heart to not be in it. And the off chance they actually ever figure this thing out. But it's just so frustrating they're not giving you anything to hang your hat on right now. Look, we've got great individual players, but we never play as a team for 60 minutes. Or in this case, 60 minutes plus overtime. I'll let you talk. I'm going to reset.
All right, all good. We're all here. We'll be on the show today. And with Bijan joining us, I'm curious to pick his brain a little bit about some of the things that have been going on. Look, he's been a total professional and a pro about this, you know, because if anybody could be bitching about not getting the ball enough, it could be Bijan. Bijan could easily right now say, look, y'all have seen what I've done. You know what I'm capable of. And the OC's not giving me the ball. But he's not that guy. He's just not built that way, and he's not going to be disruptive. But if anybody really wanted to go off on carries and all, especially coming off the Jonathan Taylor, 32 carries, Bijan could do that. But we'll talk to him today. So we'll get into that. Let's talk about where this team goes from here, man, because – I thought Mike last week was the biggest game of the season. I still feel that way. I feel like this is now we've trapped ourselves in a box. As I posted over the weekend, I don't see our way out. I don't care if we run off 3 in a row. So we're 500. We've got to literally run the table and maybe take one loss between now and the end of the season for this team to really put themselves in position to be a playoff team. And again, I know things are going to happen around us, but where do we go? Because now all of a sudden, here comes Carolina, Mike. Payback, revenge, yeah. All right, whatever.
Get some payback, but I mean, yeah, they humiliated us up there. You fired a coach over this thing, and now you got to go 7-1. You got to go 7-1 to get to 10-7. And if you look at the NFC and the teams that are ahead of us, that means you'd have to beat Seattle and the Rams. Yeah. Now that seems like a tall order. Not to mention, don't play down to the inferior. Who's an inferior opponent when you're 3-6? Who are we to say those guys are inferior? The Saints can always do something wacky down there. Who knows how we play? Got the Jets outdoors, okay? Not really our strong suit. So we'll see, but it's so frustrating. On paper, we should be able to get to 6-6, but I don't think it's good enough. And then already fans are saying, what's Arthur Blank going to do? Are you going to move on? Because it's going to be 8 seasons without the playoffs, 5 seasons for this general manager. Kyle Pitts, the epitome of everything that's wrong for this team. The drop catch on what should have been a touchdown or at least a huge gain on the start of the first drive, and then not to hear the audible from Michael Penix Jr., so he gets blown up. He's not there to catch a pass. We heard about that from Dave Archer yesterday, and Coach spoke about it. So perfect time to quietly quit on an international stage in Berlin, and then you've got Darnell Mooney, and I'm sorry, I'm saying it's not what's up, it's who are you? Darnell Mooney, the receiver core's not been great. So now we need this offensive line and this coaching staff, Carl, to pivot. Maybe now is when you say, Bijan, you're a wide receiver too. It's you and Drake. And now we're going to use you, and we'll go back and forth with you and Algier. But there's going to have to be some imagination and some ideas outside the box. I don't think that's going to happen at Flowery Branch.
Oh, and Day, you guys know what's funny about this upcoming weekend? Everybody in the league is expecting us to get payback. Everybody in the league will be picking the Falcons at home this weekend. They've lost 4 in a row. They got the blank beat out of them by this team. It's a division opponent. I guarantee you, all your Sunday shows are all going to be over the Falcons. And this is where we fall apart even more so. Because usually when everybody jumps on us and says this is their time, we find a way to blow it. I don't know what's going to happen. But isn't that ironic? Like this week is the week where everybody's going to go, oh, yeah, they're going to handle Carolina. And remember, guys, Carolina 2 weeks ago just beat Green Bay, and everybody said, holy crap. And then they wet the bed last week. I don't know what team we're getting. Are we getting that team or are we getting the team that showed up against Green Bay? I don't know. What do you think, O?
It's such a confusing team, man. Such a confusing football team. But to your point right there, we lose to Carolina, beat up on Buffalo, then get shut out by Miami. At this point in the season, the only certainty right now is the uncertainty of this team. Every Sunday, they're going to go out and they're going to do something that you weren't expecting to happen. So based on that, they can either go in and blow doors off Carolina, beat them by 30-some-odd points, or it could be a repeat of what happened last time up in Carolina where we come out sleepwalking, turning the football over, and Carolina pounces all day on short field. So it's just I'm at the point now where it's if you don't have the expectations, you can't be disappointed. You have to know the expectation point right now for the Falcons. Just go out there and I'm not going to be surprised or upset or anything like that. They win, it's going to be great. But I'm not coming in every Sunday now with the expectation that this team is going to go in and blow doors off a team. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's on Ra. I mean, these expectations and all this stuff we talk about, he's going to say he doesn't care about it, but you have to. You have to care about what the public says. You know how I know that, guys? Fire Nico.
Right.
Yeah.
And they fired him. What the public says about your team and the perception of it is real. And eventually, as that builds, it gets to a point where there's a point of no return. Dede, what do you think, man?
I'm at the point now where we got to look at the situation and just ask ourselves a couple of things. One, what's a realistic ending to this season? We haven't had 4 straight losses since 2022.
Right.
When we finally switched over to Ritter, he lost his first 2 and then they closed out with the final 2 wins. And then 2, I started thinking to myself, there's been a lot of question about why we haven't really heard much from Arthur Blank. And I'm wondering, as a fan base, are we victims of being in the microwave society?
How so?
Wanting everything now. The results we want them right now.
Well, because you see sometimes
hold on, Dede, I gotta call a timeout.
I'm just asking that question because listen to me. Hear me out. You're in your first full season with Michael Penix Jr.
So you're preaching patience? You're preaching patience?
No, I'm not trying to preach patience. But the reality of it is that in the world of sports, there is no more patience. And that, I think, kind of impacts what we're starting to see with, guys, there was a time where a coach had at least a 5-year window for a turnaround. Those days are long and gone. And I say all that to say this. I wonder if Arthur Blank is sitting back and saying to himself, you know what? Let me relax. Let me give this thing just a little time to develop.
No, I don't know. Again, whoever's in his ear, and again, saw Rich McKay on the field over in London. I presume Rich is still in his ear. It just doesn't pass the eye test, Dede. You got a coaching staff which is floundering. You got a coaching staff which has blown games. We've seen basic mistakes. Ra's timeout before the field goal. No one even knows what that is. His explanation made even less sense. So you get guys who are not showing you the ability to have the brain power, or at least the ability somehow to have an imagination to pivot, to turn this season around, to simply say, we'll look at the tape, we'll correct things. You've said that now 4 weeks in a row. Not many teams go and have 4-game losing streaks, let alone 5. And that's what we're looking at on Sunday. I think Arthur Blank's got to have a sense of urgency. This is like, if you're going to go corporate culture and say, no, he'll figure this out. I don't think they can. So I just got to disagree with you on that. This is 8 seasons without the playoffs, 5 years for this regime. And it's just, to me, it doesn't pass the eye test. And Arthur Blank knows, and I think Carl touched about it earlier, the vibe on the street is I'm ready to quit as a fan. And because this is 8 years now. It's all cumulative. Raheem's only got 2 under his belt. But to me, the time is you've got to make strong action. You got to get ahead of the rest of the NFL teams in the hiring process.
So that would mean, and let me ask you guys this. Then, with that being said, to your point, Mike, if it's 5 years with this regime, and you say, you know what, it's not working, Terry, you got to go. Does that mean Rise out the door as well? Because to your point, this is only his 2nd year.
But he's not. He can't. Raheem can't do the job you hired him to do. Look, we've already covered this is old ground we've covered. Belichick thing, the flirtation. This was a safe hire. They didn't have the guts to hire a rookie coach. So all the rookies that they interviewed, they went with a guy they felt comfortable with, whose resume wasn't that impressive in the first place. And he's delivering, guess what? Unimpressive results his second time around with a lot of talent. Carl, I think there's a talent on this team. You see, you're close enough to hang till the overtime or the final possession against the Patriots, but you can't get it done.
Yeah, and that gets to Dede's question for me. That is Terry's selling point to the owner. I gave him talent. Look at this. Look at the draft classes. Look at how we've invested. I did my job.
Right.
He's not coaching these guys up, and we're not performing on the field. That is Terry's saving grace. Now, I'm not telling you he's going to survive if this thing goes as bad as hopefully it doesn't. But if it does, then I don't know if he survives. But that's what he's going to tell Arthur Blank. And real quick, I just want to hit on this. Guys, thank you guys for being here, by the way. It's our behind the scenes pre-show we do every man. We should give you a little preview of what's going on. I want to go back to Rich McKay. You said you saw him on the field.
Yeah.
Stop showing us this illusion of you being in charge of Atlanta United when you're everywhere the Falcons are, ironically, yet you don't have a say. Why is Rich McKay in Germany? The illusion is, well, he's part of the competition committee and it's an NFL thing. The reality is he's still a part of the football stuff. And let's stop playing this game, because if you were truly in charge of Atlanta United, who, by the way, we just brought Tata back, shouldn't you be working on that stuff? The irony is you can always cover this up by saying, oh, well, I'm part of the competition committee and therefore I was needed overseas. Why doesn't he make all the games overseas? Has he been to every game? We've got one more in Madrid, Spain this Sunday. Is he going to be there? Stop playing with this whole illusion thing of you're not involved, but you're there. All right, want to address that. As far as your question, Day, I'll just say I'm with Mike. Look, the patience, it's hard. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just think for right now where we are as a fan base, it's just hard for us to say, Arthur, give him 2 or 3 more years. And I said this to Zeno the other day. I mean, Zeno said something similar. And I said, how old am I going to be when we get back to the damn playoffs? How old is Arthur Blank going to be, Mike?
Right. Like, Arthur, I'm painting again. That's actually a nice shade of blue. All right, I'll make this quick and I'll reset again. Sorry, man. Streaming in the there's a country song called "Streaming in the Country," but yeah, I'm with you. Arthur Blank. I mean, what are we doing here? Unless he's going to be like cryogenically frozen like Ted Williams, and he'll come back in 10 years when they figured this out. I mean, there's got to be a sense of urgency. I'll tip out for a second.
Okay, we're going to talk college football playoff today, guys. Just want to give you a little dose of getting into this. The committee's telling us.
Carl? You know why people are upset when it doesn't happen fast?
Why?
Because you saw last year with the Commanders, they made the NFC Championship game with the rookie quarterback.
True.
You saw what has happened with Kansas City and the generational quarterback they had with Mahomes, but how early it got done with Mahomes. You look at Seattle when they had Russell Wilson, how quickly he stepped in, and that team.
The Bengals is another one.
You told everybody by 1, signing Kirk Cousins last year, and then 2, drafting Michael Penix, that this team is merely only a quarterback away. So when you add that quarterback to the equation, that should be it right there. We heard it all off season. We even heard Raheem talk about it when he first got hired. This team was a quarterback away from being in the playoffs. This team was a quarterback away from being a big competitor. And when you add those pieces, why is it not like we're going on what you told us too, Raheem, about the presence of a new quarterback and what that's going to do, how it's going to elevate this team to a new level. So when that's not happening, I consider you're lying to us.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, and you're right. I kind of forgot that. And maybe I'll ask him that today, because that was the notion, right?
That's true.
We were a quarterback away from being really good. We just got to fill that void. So you go get a vet, then you draft a kid, and that has not happened. It's a great point. College football playoff, before we get out of here, we're going to talk more about it today on the show, but I was going to say the committee's telling us a few things about where they are. But, guys, we have literally 3 weeks, so everything's going to play out. And over these next 3 weeks, matter of fact, next week, we'll have a clearer picture. Look, Texas loses, they're done this weekend at Georgia. Georgia loses, they may be done. It just is going to depend on how many SEC teams are going to get in. But we're going to discuss all of this. Texas Tech is real. The committee said as much by moving them up. And I also think
last night too, Carl, the ACC is screwed.
They're done.
Yeah.
They got one shot. They got one shot. So we'll get into all of this. Big 12 too, guys, for all that conversation.
Yeah.
Texas Tech may be the only team that represents the Big 12. All right, we'll get into all of that today on the show, 2 o'clock. Mike's going to go back to painting. We will talk to you guys then. Everybody take care. We'll talk to you guys at 2 at Flowery Branch.